What if $120 million was the price of a total defensive revolution in Carolina? The Panthers just went from being conservative bystanders to the most aggressive hunters in the league, and the ripples are being felt from Charlotte to every front office in the NFL. They had to defend their division crown, but this specific move is being called one of the biggest disasters of the offseason by some insiders. Is this a masterstroke of genius or a historic financial blunder that will haunt the franchise for years? Let's dive deep into the building right now. Jaelan Phillips is the name on everyone's lips right now because the Carolina Panthers just committed a staggering $120 million to bring him into the fold. This deal averages out to $30 million a season, a figure that has sent shockwaves through the league's financial landscape. The reason for such aggression? The front office was tired of being conservative, especially after missing out on Milton Williams last year. They feel they are ahead of schedule as division winners and refuse to let the crown slip away. However, on paper, this looks like a massive gamble that has analysts scratching their heads in disbelief. We are talking about an edge rusher whose career high is only 8.5 sacks, and that was all the way back in his rookie season of 2021. Since then, his journey has been marred by significant injuries that would make any general manager lose sleep. But the Panthers aren't just looking at the stat sheet that everyone else sees. They are looking at the underlying impact that doesn't always show up in the box score on Sundays. Even with a pass rush win rate that some critics are calling underwhelming, the team believes they have found the missing piece to their defensive puzzle. Gary Davenport has already labeled this as one of the worst signings in free agency, citing the massive risk involved with Phillips's medical history. The debate is raging within the industry about whether the Panthers overpaid for potential rather than production. But behind closed doors, there is a very specific reason why the Panthers believe the critics are dead wrong about this valuation. They saw what happened when Phillips joined a defense in the past, and they are betting $120 million that history is about to repeat itself in the most dominant way possible. If they are right, the rest of the league is in serious trouble, but if they are wrong, this contract could anchor the franchise for the next half-decade. The pressure is on, and the stakes could not be any higher for this defense moving forward into the new season. Is $30 million a year too high of a price for an edge rusher with a heavy injury history? I want to know your thoughts in the comments right now because this deal is polarizing the entire fan base. If you want to stay ahead of every Panthers move and get the real story from inside the building, you need to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button immediately. Your support helps us bring you the most exclusive Panthers content on YouTube. Do you think Jaelan Phillips will actually justify this record-breaking contract this season? Gary Davenport of Bleacher Report has been extremely vocal about his skepticism regarding this massive investment. He explicitly pointed out that Phillips had a pass rush win rate under 10% last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. Davenport's concerns are centered on the fact that the Panthers are paying top-tier money for a player who has already suffered a ruptured Achilles and a torn ACL in consecutive years. From an outsider's perspective, that looks like a recipe for a financial catastrophe. But here is the perspective from inside the scouting room that isn't being talked about enough in the national media. Phillips was actually ranked as the 8th best edge rusher in terms of total pressure generated last season. While sacks are the flashy metric that gets players paid, pressure is what actually disrupts an opposing quarterback's rhythm and leads to turnovers. Look at what happened to the Eagles' defense after they traded for him. They went from being a middle-of-the-pack unit to a sack machine. They recorded 28 sacks in just 9 games following his arrival. Before he stepped on the field, they only had 16. That is a transformative impact that goes way beyond his individual sack count. The Panthers only had 30 sacks as a team during the entire previous season, and they desperately needed someone who could command double teams and create opportunities for the rest of the defensive line. They don't have a Micah Parsons or a Myles Garrett, so they are betting that Phillips can be the engine that makes everyone else around him better. The front office believes that the sheer volume of pressure he creates will naturally lead to more production for the entire unit. They are not just buying a player, they are buying a defensive identity that can carry them through the playoffs. The internal metrics suggest that Phillips is just scratching the surface of his true potential if he stays healthy. The risk is undeniably high, but the potential reward is a top 5 defensive unit that can dominate the division for years to come. This is a gamble on the structural integrity of the entire defense, and the Panthers are going all in on their evaluation of his true game-altering impact. The medical staff in Carolina has spent countless hours reviewing the files on Phillips to ensure they aren't walking into a trap. The reality of his injury history is that he played 17 games last season, proving that he can handle the physical toll of a full NFL schedule. Internal sources indicate that the team views his previous ACL and Achilles injuries as isolated incidents rather than a sign of a chronic, degenerative condition. Unlike soft tissue injuries that frequently recur, these major structural repairs are often stronger once fully healed. The Panthers feel confident that they aren't getting damaged goods. Furthermore, the way this contract is structured is much more team-friendly than the headline numbers suggest. While the total value is $120 million, the guaranteed money and the cap hits in the early years allow the team some flexibility if things don't go according to plan. This aggressive strategy signals a massive shift in how the Panthers operate under their current leadership. They are no longer content with building slowly through the draft. They want to win now, and they are willing to pay a premium to secure high-impact talent. By moving aggressively in free agency, they have filled their biggest hole on the roster before the draft even begins. This allows them to take the best player available rather than reaching for a need. The impact on the locker room is also significant. Bringing in a player of Phillips's caliber sends a message to the veterans that the organization is serious about defending the division title. It raises the expectations for everyone in the building. As we look toward 2026, the Panthers anticipate that this defense will be among the elite in the league. If Phillips can maintain his health and continue to generate pressure at an elite rate, no one will be talking about the contract size in 2 years. They will be talking about how the Panthers stole a franchise cornerstone when the rest of the league was too afraid to take the risk. This is the blueprint for a franchise that is ready to take the next step into true championship contention. Ultimately, the signing of Jaelan Phillips is the ultimate litmus test for the Panthers' new philosophy of aggressive team building. It is a move that defines an era. If it works, it is the catalyst for a defensive dynasty in the division. If it fails, it will be the cautionary tale told for years about the dangers of overpaying for potential overhealth. But in the NFL, you don't win by playing it safe and staying conservative in the middle of the pack. You win by identifying game changers and doing whatever it takes to get them into your building. The Panthers have made their choice, and they are standing firmly behind it. They see a player who transformed an Eagles defense, and they are convinced he will do the exact same thing in Carolina. This isn't just about the sacks or the pressures. It is about the statement that the Carolina Panthers are no longer a team that waits for things to happen. They are the team that makes things happen. The $120 million is a lot of money, but a championship defense is priceless. As we move closer to the season, the focus will shift from the bank account to the field, and that is exactly where Jaelan Phillips does his best work. The critics can keep their lists and their rankings for now, but the only ranking that will matter is the one at the end of the season. Will the Panthers be standing at the top of the NFC South once again? If Phillips stays on the field, the answer is a resounding yes. Make sure you don't miss a single second of this journey as we track his progress through training camp and beyond. Subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss a breaking update on your Panthers. Hit that like button if you believe this defense is about to become a top 5 unit in the NFL. We are just getting started with this new era in Carolina. Keep pounding, and we will see you in the next deep dive as we follow this historic defensive transformation. This is the moment everything changes for the Panthers.